After years and years of trying to qualify for the World Championship Tour, French Polynesia, and the surfer representing France, Vahine Fierro, is a rookie on the Championship Tour for 2025. What a moment.
Vahine Fierro, so good to see you. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to join this talk.
So much to talk about with you. So excited for you to join as a full rookie on the championship tour. But you had some amazing beginnings of your life growing up in paradise. Now, was it more important to have a car or a boat?
That's a good question. Yeah, when you come from islands, I feel like you go around the island faster on the ocean. So having a boat or a jet ski it's way more cooler than having a cool car.
So for you, did that happen first? Were you pretty comfortable driving boats or skis well before driving a car?
I drove my parents' boat my entire childhood while I was growing up and going surfing after school every day at 3 with my friends, and we were all on a little dinghy and going out and having to like carry the gas tank like to a sideways because we barely have enough gas to make it back, but we were trying to go every day. So yeah, it was a pretty cool way to grow up.
And get yourself into some really good waves too, right?
Yeah, so I grew up on this island near Tahiti where it's all reef pass, so we always had to go by boat or paddling, and always good waves. So I grew up on I would say like good waves, only reefs, and so it's go like having to starting to compete after. That's when it got tricky because that's when I realized, okay, I gotta get off this island and go find beach breaks and average waves, I would say, and that's kind of when I moved out of my island to go on the main island in Tahiti.
That makes sense. Was that a tough transition? I mean, when you think about it, people tend to, I guess, go the opposite way, or a lot of people do, where they're scared of surfing over a reef. But when you are surfing perfect waves, you're comfortable with shallow water, and then transitioning to actually surf waves where you have to get speed on your own and actually try to get motivated to maybe surf lackluster conditions. What was that process like?
Well, actually, like I would say in, going from perfect waves to transitioning on average waves on the main island, it was okay still because it was still warm. The waves in Tahiti beach breaks, they're still pretty powerful. It's like with rocks, so it's not really technically a beach break. But then when I had to transition to France, where it's wetsuits and cold water and only sand, that's when it got like trickier. And mentally too, it's so much different when you grew up in like such a, I would say, easy place where it's warm and comfortable, to going to like California or other countries where it gets, that's when it gets a little harder. But I had one dream was to, make the tour, and I knew that by doing those little sacrifices, in a way, like taking those decisions would have helped me a lot. And so.
Do you remember the moment where you were all in on this dream, on that goal to make the tour? Was it at a young age, or did you kind of start surfing for a while and then realize your talent?
It was not early, definitely not early. I always loved free surfing, being with my friends, my family after school. Like, it was just something to do just for fun. And then when I was 13, when I moved out on to Tahiti to go to school, to do boarding school. So I lived in like a dorm, and I had like surf lessons like 3 times a week to surf this beach break. That's kind of when I was like, okay, like I could do homeschool and stay on my island, but I'm going to move out because I want to get better at, surfing beach breaks, so I can maybe do a Pro Junior or QS. And so that's kind of when I had one step in, and then only doing local contests. And then when I was around like 15, 16, I did like ISAs, couple Pro Juniors, and that's kind of when I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go full on. So around 16, 17, that's when I had like a click, and I wanted to become the best surfer in the world. So
I love that. What a great program. And so, yeah, more about your family, though, Vahine. You're the oldest of three siblings, right? Yourself and the two younger sisters. Can you tell us about your relationship with your family?
yeah, my family is everything to me. I mean, that's kind of what I think why I love surfing so much. It's because that's what we've done like every day, like at the end of the day or early in the morning, like we would go before work or after school, and like it's just something that, you know, created such a strong bond between us with like our passion for the ocean and surfing. And so now we like we kind of have different schedule now because like both of my sisters are on the QS, so they're one is in the Europe region, the other one is in the Hawaii Tahiti region, and then I'm on the CT now. So we're like it's such a big schedule, and for my parents too, they're kind of, you know, empty nesters now, and they're like following us from far, organizing for all three of us. So they're both like kind of retired now, but they kind of have a new work to like schedule everything for us and help us like get around the globe. And so yeah, we have a pretty you know, tight family, and surfing what is kind of what keeps us like so much together, and we share so much memories together through surfing. So
How did your parents meet? Your dad's from San Diego, right? And your mom's Tahitian?
yeah, a lot of people don't know that I'm half American, half Tahitian. So my dad wanted to go on a surf trip, and then he went to my island and met my mom, and they kind of fell in love from there. And then my mom was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna move out from here. If you know, if you want to stay with me, you gotta move here." And he was like, "No problem. I would drop anything to live on this island." So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
That's awesome. So do you have family in California?
I do. I have family in San Diego, and so I kind of feel at home whenever I'm in California or in Tahiti. So that's also really nice.
Yeah, it's cool when you just look at this island archipelago in Tahiti and how important that's been just for your life. I feel like you share the energy, the mana of your island with you when you travel the world. I could tell right away that home is really special to your heart.
Yeah, home is kind of what I feel like, you know, shaped us. I mean, Tahitian people were so, I mean, we have a lot of respect, a lot of kindness. We love to share also. So that's kind of what's, you know, what created my own authenticity, I guess, where I love to do things with a lot of passion, with kindness towards, you know, where we are at, and then also share it too, like me through surfing, like I'm, you know, sharing it with like a lot of people around me, and you know, having to share it also with the new generation coming up in Tahiti. It's also one of my biggest goals too. So yeah, it's like home is what fuels, you know, and what motivates me and inspires me to give it my best all the time.
It was a really powerful transition in recent times when the whole village of Teahupo'o got some new people hanging out around there. You know, I remember the early days of the CT, there wasn't a whole lot of pro athletes that were living there full time. And then with yourself, with Kaoli Vast, and, you know, with the CTs coming up and it being effective, you're already a champion of that event at Teahupo'o, which you'll get to compete as a rookie, but as a defending champ. It's interesting when you compare tour locations from lowers to snapper to pipeline, where it makes a lot of sense. They're like, hey, if you're investing in your career, you need to actually live by this world-class wave. Was that just a moment in time where you're like, hey, this is going to be a huge part of my career. I better live as close as I can to that wave?
It wasn't, because it was just that it reminded me so much of my island. So it's like, you know, at the end of the road, there's not really any stores, like it's really calm. And that's kind of why I picked, with my family, we picked Teahupo'o, because it felt really at home compared to like town or anywhere else on Tahiti. And then I was like, and there's good waves too. There's like a couple passes, and I get to like train there, and then the beach break is not too far. So it was also a good location for like getting better at surfing. But really at first it was just because it felt so at home and so, it just reminded me of home. So, but it turned out to be the one of the best decision ever, because then I got to surf, Teahupo'o and all the other waves around every day whenever I wanted to go out. So, and be right there. So it was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you've had what, 5 wild cards now at the CT level, 3 in Tahiti, and then 2 a while back in France, where you got your feet wet
Yes.
against the best in the world. Do you remember that first feeling of putting on the CT jersey for the first time in the southwest of France?
Yeah, it was the coolest thing. It was actually through my sponsor. Yeah, Roxy gave me a wild card in France, and it was so cool. Like my first heat, I was against, I think, Stephanie Gilmore and Sage Erickson. I lost, and then I ended up going into round 2 against Caroline, and then I won against Caroline, and that was like the best feeling ever, because she was like, everybody's such a great surfer, and then yeah, after that, yeah, it was every year I got a wild card, and like one the next year in France, and then 3 in a row in Tahiti. So it's always the best feeling ever to compete against them, because you're bettering yourself, you're learning from them, and it's such a like positive reinforcing cycle to be around those women. So yeah, it's like that's why I'm so excited to be on tour now, because I'm gonna learn so much more, and so like just so much, and yeah, I'm super excited.
Gosh, you just brought me back to that heat with Caroline. Battle of the backhands, if I remember right. Kind of a smaller little
Yeah.
guttery sandbar, remember? And you guys were
Hmm.
just throwing up little backhand combos, that, if I
Yeah, it
remember
was like
correctly.
it was so grindy. It was just really stormy, and it was like a rip current into the right, and then there was like a little left. She was trying to do airs, and I was like trying to stay on the right, and then my option paid off, but it was pretty grindy, I would say.
Speaking of grindy, let's talk about qualification, the road that it took to officially accomplish this dream. And you've had what, 4 full like hard seasons where you've been in the running. The last few years, I think 2021, that the first introduction of the Challenger Series, you might have been like 2 spots out, maybe, a qualifying, and I think the
Yeah.
following ones you're like in that top 10 at the end. Before this past year, what was it like? What was your process going into the off season, coming that close and having to start from scratch again?
No, yeah, it was the first year I remember clearly, because that was the one year that hurt the most, because I was one heat away from qualifying, and I lost in Haleva, and I just had to, place second to make my heat, and I lost. So that was painful, but then I just, yeah, kind of every time I didn't qualify, I knew that I was right there, and at some point, like, it was gonna happen, but it was just not meant to happen, like at that moment. And then slowly I was like also like getting such a good relationship with the people I was working with, whether it was my coach, like my psychologist, my trainer at home, like, and then like just I was getting like just better and better with that, and felt more and more comfortable, like being on the road, competing and learning, and trusting also, because like on the Challenger it demands so much like faith and courage to like keep going, because there's 80 great surfers, and there's only 5 that could make the cut. So you're surfing against such great surfers, so you always have to be your best at every event, so I trusted that at some point it's gonna happen, and then this year it did, and I couldn't. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't want it any other way. So.
Oh, so proud of you. Way to go. And obviously so well prepared now to be a rookie in a pretty stellar class with Aaron Brooks and Bella Kenworthy. Do you have relationships with those 2 rookies that'll be joining you next year?
I actually been surfing with Erin at Pipeline like every morning. She's been out like at dark, and then I'm like the second surfer out at dark. So we've been like going out a lot, and I'm closer to Erin than Bella, but they're both like younger, just like super motivated, hungry, and they're very progressive too. So it's pretty cool to be part of this movement.
for your incredible skill set at Teahupo'o, what helps you when you paddle out of pipe, with all the experience you have in Tahiti, and then what still challenges you when it comes to pipe? What's very different compared to your home break?
Yeah, I think I would start with the challenge, which is probably the crowd here, because there's so many great surfers, like all the good surfers, you name it, they're out there. Everybody's trying to get, the wave of their life out there. So that's probably the most challenging part for me. And then from the experience I've gained from Teahupo'o, like I've spent a lot of hours not necessarily catching waves and being a little scared and being out of my comfort zone and having bad wipeouts and going again and like breaking boards. So it's like kind of getting used to not necessarily get, a lot of waves, but you're learning a lot about the lineups. You're learning a lot about, where the other people are sitting, and just picking up on little things is probably what I'm, doing here now, because I'm not necessarily catching a lot of waves, but taking notes, sitting on my surfboard on the side. So
yeah, I was thinking about the wipeout story and the learning process that comes with that, and believing that you can do it again. I mean, what's the worst wipeout that you've had at Pipeline so far?
I would say at Pipeline, I haven't had a bad wipeout yet, because I don't think I've pushed myself enough yet. But I have a feeling that I'm gonna be doing that a lot more. But definitely, like at Teahupo'o, would be a 2-wave hold down, followed by 5 waves on my head, and all the jet skis missed me. So I ended up going in the lagoon, but only like 5 waves later, and I was out of breath, coughing water, and that was pretty scary. I couldn't feel my legs anymore because I was so out of breath. So, yeah, that's the scary part. But then there's also like all eyes are on you when you're surfing out on these breaks. Like at Pipeline, we have the chance to have lifeguards, like jet skis, and a lot of people on the beach to come and grab you if anything happens. So it's also the moment to just go and go big.
The wipeout you just described, that's so heavy. Was it an instant I'm back out there, or did you take some time and kind of reassess things?
Yeah, no, I didn't go back out there because I also touched the bottom. I was bleeding everywhere, so I took the time to go on the ski and then go home. And yeah, it was, but like I remember clearly this year when I won at Teahupo'o, the day before finals day, I actually hit the bottom really hard on my elbow, and I came out and I was like crying and I was bleeding like everywhere, and I could barely move my elbow. And I get back on the ski with Jeremy Flores, because he was coaching me in this event, and he's like, "Vahine, like it's good, like you have blood everywhere, it's like war, like we love that, you're gonna go back out." And I looked at him, I'm like, "I'm not gonna go back out." He's like, "You're gonna go back out." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Even if you can't paddle, just go." And I was like, "Okay." And I was going back out. I was like almost crying. And then I caught a little bear, and it's like, "That's all I asked you. That's good. We can go home now." But yeah, I guess it's good to go back out too when you do have wipeouts, but depending on how bad it is.
You just brought some good Jeremy Flores energy right there. I love it.
Yeah.
Talk about the impact that he's made on your surfing, on your career as a human, and even the other mentors and inspirations you've had.
No, yeah, it's cool because in Tahiti we have such a tight community that, we're a tight community of surfers, and also the coaches that are there. There's, not that many, but the ones that we have are really good. So since I'm like 15, I've been working with Hira Terina Tofa. So he's such a legend, and he has so much knowledge to bring us for like techniques and contests. And then Jeremy came in a little later, where he helped us to qualify for the Olympics for 2024. And so that was like 2 years ago. And that's kind of when he also retired at that same moment. So he kind of shifted his focus to sharing all the knowledge and all, everything that he learned. He wanted, I guess, to share it with us. And so he kind of took Kaoli and I under his wing, and and he's always like frothing. He's like, okay, let's go tomorrow. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he has like his little notebook where he's like writing everything. And so it's really cool. There's like a good energy, and his attitude is what I think, he has that attitude that he's a fighter. He's like, he has everything all in one. So it's good to have that. And yeah, I guess to have that.
Oh, I love that. Who's coming with you on tour next year as far as coaches, family? Who are you going to be traveling with?
Jeremy Flores is coming with me for Pipeline with Toma Malem, which he is my coach for the entire year. And this year I also worked with Toma and qualified with Toma this year. And then we're going to keep going for next year on tour and with Jeremy on the side as well. So both of them, they're both from France. And I feel like it's a good team. We know each other really well. And then probably my parents and my boyfriend at some point at different locations. So that, and Britt Merrick, my shaper, that would probably be on every tour, on every stop. So yeah.
What a great crew. I want in. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend is Jeremy's wife's brother.
It is, yeah. So my boyfriend is Jeremy's brother-in-law, I guess. So yeah, it's kind of family.
It's all in the family.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we've got obviously Pipe, and then the next event is creating history. I don't know if you ever dreamed of going to Abu Dhabi for a pro surf event, but it's going to happen at the championship tour level for the first time ever. Have you been there before?
I was there just a week ago, where I've never surfed that wave, neither the Surf Ranch or Abu Dhabi. So I kind of thought it was important to go check it out and see what I like for boards and the read of the wave and stuff. And it was the most amazing surf trip I've ever done. Like, you're on this island, a sand island with the ocean in the back, with buildings in the back, and it just feels like you're on this dreamy remote island, but in a wave pool. It was the weirdest feeling, where you feel like you're in the surf trips in the islands with like perfect waves going by right, left. So, and I went with a really sick crew to like Baron, Mamiya, Seth Moniz, and Jackson Bunch. And so it's kind of like an island trip, island people on an island. So yeah, it was good vibes, and I got to learn a lot, and I'm super excited to go for our second stop over there. It's going to be really cool.
You just got me really fired up. So with it being salt water, was it a really easy transition from surfing in the ocean right into a system like that?
It wasn't, to be honest, like I was a little bit frustrated on my first session, where I caught like 4 waves, I think, in a row, where I couldn't feel my board, couldn't feel my legs. Like, it was a weird sensation, and you're surfing towards like a wall. So it's like, it was just really weird. And then the whole day I kind of felt not super comfortable, and then the second day just like clicked in, and I felt at home, like it felt normal. So, but I think salt water is definitely helpful for like the legs, because apparently it wasn't, Baron guys were saying how it wasn't burning as much as, a wave pool with chlorine. So I guess that's a better point.
Awesome. We always know you're going to look forward to being home in Tahiti, obviously when you look at the calendar, but what other events are really standing out to you that you just can't wait to compete at?
I think Tahiti is the one event that's motivating me to like, get to that event, because it's after the cut. So I have to like get to that event. So I have to enjoy all the other events before. And I was just talking about it with my shaper too. Like, I think that some of the waves, like Pipeline, it's hard to get waves when it's, a free surf. And so that's why it's like so cool to have an event there and be with 2 other people. I would take it any day. So that's what's like, the first event for me is really exciting, because I might get the best wave of my life out there, like, in a heat. So Pipeline, and then Snapper is a wave that I know really well through the challengers. It's a wave that I always look forward to going back. And then the other waves are all new for me. So Margaret looks really nice, the wave, but also everything around it. So yeah, I think every event is going to be pretty cool. So
yeah, can't wait to see you with Priority Pipeline and the wave that you've dreamed of coming your way.
Yeah.
When you are mentioned around Moana Jones Wong, or your name's mentioned around her, you both have this special smile that kind of perks up. You know, you guys share something really special in common. Her being from here, winning Pipeline as a wild card, you in Tahiti, you know, winning as a wild card. And it seems like there's a special bond there between the two of you.
No, it's true. I've been surfing with her every day. She's so little but so feisty and so competitive, and I feel like that's what you need here in Hawaii, where you have to have that attitude where you gotta like want, you know, you gotta want it at the same time, respect it, but you gotta like go for it. And she has that, and we get along really well. And I mean, I guess it's like a wave that we just have in front of our, you know, it's our backyard, so we get to surf it, and I guess we're lucky to just call it home. So that's probably what we share, and we're also both from islands, so we kind of have like, you know, the mana, that energy that we can, you know, we have it here. So yeah, I don't know, we're good friends, and we're also good competitors that push each other, so that's fun to share it with someone.
I love that. Well, you're a rookie on tour. What number did you end up picking for your jersey?
Well, I don't know. Renato never confirmed it to me, but hopefully it's that one. But
I'm going to send him an email right now, actually. Let's get this official.
I really wanted the number 5 because it represents the number of my, like the 5 people that I love most. So my parents, and then my 2 sisters, and my boyfriend. And then also like number 5 for the 5 archipelagos of Tahiti, and it represents French Polynesia, all the islands. So I thought I would, just go for number 5. It sounded good.
I'm gonna have my fingers crossed for confirmation for that. Maybe there was a few people that wanted it at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll get more on that.
Because
story.
I was ranked 5th, so I was like the last one in the pecking order. So if Bella or Erin pick number 5, I wouldn't get my number 5. So I said number 5 or number 55. So there's a 5 in there somewhere.
That works. Goals as far as your rookie season go. What do you want to see happen? Say we're already in October of 2025. What would make you extremely happy?
Oh, for sure, having a world title in perfect cloud break, in the most amazing waves, pushing women surfing. That would sound pretty cool. And then winning like a couple of the different stops on tour also, and just surprising myself with like new locations, new goals, and just I think there's a lot of new things. I don't know what to expect, and at the same time I want to expect a lot of things out of me, but definitely like just surprising myself all year would be a cool feeling.
I can't wait to be surprised from the booth and hoot and holler every time you get a great wave. Vahine, it's always special getting to hang out with you, and best of luck, best of waves in your rookie season on tour.
Thank you so much.